really high horsepower bike, you can't get all of the fun out of it on the road. Like, it's just not possible because you have to be doing stupid speeds in order for it to actually, like, get there. And so, most freaking roads aren't going to allow you to do that anyway. So I prefer torque, more manliness under speed. You've got shift cam on the S1000R small torque. Oh, true. Yeah, yeah. But still, the RC8 still makes torque, mate. Makes more torque than that. Not gonna lie to you. But anyway, I hope you guys are all good. In this kind of like live stream, I kind of wanted to talk about like my kind of like thought processes when I go and buy a new secondhand most bike, and kind of like what I look for when I'm gonna go buy one of those. And one of those considerations is like future value of the bike. And the other thing I want to talk about as well is like the running costs of the RC8, because I think a lot of people have actually asked me like, okay, how much does an RC8 cost to ride, cost to own? What's the cost of ownership? Aren't they a pain in the ass if they go wrong? The servicing is going to be a nightmare, that kind of stuff. But and it's completely not true. And I actually genuinely think that if you actually look into the numbers of it, it's actually like pretty affordable. And for the money, you can't get any other vehicle that's going to do that amount of speed and like have that amount of like fun factor and acceleration and stuff like that. So that's kind of like what I wanted to talk about in this live stream, because people have asked me that. Because like, to give you a bit of perspective, on every single one of my bikes that I've owned, I've never lost money on them. I've always put like 10,000 miles on it and I've made money. And I think a lot of people, when they go out and buy bikes, they're like, oh, this is, they buy the wrong bike, and then after a few years it's depreciated, and then when they sell it they lose money, or if they're going to give it back to the dealership, they lose money on it. And it means that like when you want to get your new bike, something that you're like more passionate about, it basically means that you don't have that much capital left to put onto the new bike, right? So that's kind of like what I wanted to talk about in this video, like how I go around like making money from bikes, and how basically every single one of my motorcycles that I've bought have like in some way led up to the purchase of the RC8. So I hope this is going to be interesting for you guys, but it's something I kind of like want to talk about. So when I let's first of all cover the costs of the RC8. So when I first bought the RC8, part of the reason why I got it was because it was I never wanted an RC8. I mean, I'd seen them before. I was like, they're really cool, but I'd never been like, oh, that's what I really, really want. But then when I originally bought a Super Duke, as you guys probably know, and that kind of fell through because there was a problem with the bike. And so I then went on to eBay and just randomly searched on eBay. And then one day, literally out of nowhere, pops up this RC8. And I was like, oh, Graham, that's a really, really good deal. So I picked it up. Now, the RC8 cost me 5,600 quid, which is pretty cheap. I mean, these things now they're actually appreciating value, and the RC8 in Spain is like, I think, worth about 8,000 euros. So it's kind of like a little bit of appreciation here, which is great. Well, things in Spain cost more anyway, but I knew that the RC8, because it was like a rare bike, I knew I could like ride it for a bit and sell it and probably not lose money on it. So to get to buy the RC8, I could have paid for it outright, but I was like, okay, I'd rather keep my 5.5 grand, and I would rather get out a finance on it and pay for it on monthly over 3 years. And hello, what's up, Mr. Super Dukes in the chat? How you doing, bro? Let me just quickly answer these questions. What's your insurance like? Has it changed since you moved? It hasn't changed, literally. I'll get onto the insurance. Dexter says the insurance is paying the value of my bike and full helmet leathers, personal accident. Mate, that's amazing. Well done. I'm sorry about the bike, but these things happen, dude. Adam Noble, what's up, man? How's it going? And I'm just talking about, for you guys who just joined, I'm just talking about cost of ownership of the RC8. So I didn't want to put like 5.5 grand of my own money down just to buy the bike outright. So I took out finance. And I was looking around and looking for like good, cheap finance. And this is a pro tip for you guys. if you can, never ever 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 go through a dealership to finance your bike if you're going to get it on HP. If you're getting it on PCP, obviously that's a bit different. But if you're going to hire purchase it where you pay monthly, you pay off the debt that you owe, and then at the end you owe the bike, you don't have a balloon payment or something. Never ever ever do that through a dealership, or even worse is doing it through like a motorcycle credit broker, because they will absolutely take you to the cleaners in terms of APR and interest rates. Like it's actually a freaking joke, and it makes me really angry because I was put it this way, right? When I first was looking to buy a new bike, but just before I got the RC8, I went to a well-known online motorcycle dealership that I will not name, but it rhymes with Pooper Bike Factory, and other brands, other online dealerships are obviously available. And I went to them, and I did their whole kind of credit check process, and they didn't tell me that I was going to have a hard credit check done on my account. They said, "Oh, we're just going to do a credit check," but they didn't say it was a hard credit check. Hard credit checks affect your credit rating because it as like a mark that you've looked for finance, right? Anyway, so they did a credit check to see if I was applicable for finance, and the guy comes back and he's like, "Yeah, I can give you finance, but it's going to be a really good rate of 20% APR," and I was like, "Mate, you're having a freaking joke. 20% APR. That is an absolute insane number." And basically what that meant is that he was getting like huge commission. If I had taken that loan out, he was going to get a massive commission. 10%, because I think that the actual interest rate of the loan was going to be like 10%. And he was going to him and the company were going to get an extra 10%. It was insane. And that would have basically made my monthly repayments and the actual cost of the loan way like stupidly more expensive. So I basically kindly told them to fuck off. And I said, "Look, is that the best deal you can give me?" And they were like, "Oh, actually, we can do 14%. It's like, why would you offer me 20% in the first place? And then when you knew I could get 14 is still, in my eyes, way too freaking high. So I basically just gave them the finger and told them to piss off, and I'd never deal with them again. Anyway, I was then looking around at kind of getting some other financial packages and stuff like that to see what I could like get in terms of financing on the RC8. Here we go. I'm Super Dude. I'm really good, man. I hope you're well. Diamond Heat, I have a new credit union I will finance my new super sport with. Exactly, man. Credit unions are great as well. Banks, building societies, credit unions. And because they offer way less interest, right? But when I was a young sprout, when I first got my Yamaha R125, my first road bike, I bought that for 1,600 quid, but I took out 3 grand's worth of finance to like buy all the leathers, get insurance, pay for the tests and the CBT and all that kind of shit. So I took out 3 grand's worth of finance through a third party company there, and they took me to the cleaners, but I was too stupid to realize that was a 20% APR loan. And I was paying for a £3,000 loan over 3 years. I was paying like 120 quid a month for my 125, which is like, now I look back on it, like really expensive. Anyway, so with the RC8, I was looking around and I went with my own bank, and they offered me a dirt cheap interest rate. I think it's 6%, which is still a little bit higher than I would like, but because I'm self-employed, they couldn't offer me 3%, which is what they advertised. So I have a 6% finance loan for the RC8, which I've pretty much paid off now because I just pay more money every single month. There's no like charges and shit, so it's pretty much paid off now. But but put this into perspective, right? When I took out a 3 grand loan for my first bike, for my 125, that was charging me 120 quid a month for a £5,500 loan, which is like £6,000 including like interest and stuff. So 6 grand over the same term of 3 years. I'm only paying 160 quid a month. I was only paying 160 quid a month for the RC8. So that's just like insane different. Like for double the value of the loan, I'm only paying like £40 more a month. It's just it's stupid. So it's like super affordable. But just pro tip for you guys, like if you want to finance a bike, a secondhand bike, or even a new vehicle or whatever, like unless the dealership is offering you like a really good interest rate deal, like what Super Duke is just talking about now, saying just got the Super Duke from Kestrel at 2.9%. That's an amazing deal. Like go for it. But they often only do that on new vehicles. I didn't really want to buy a new bike, so I got so I went and got secondhand with my bank. So think about that when you're going to go buy a bike. So if you think about it, with the RC8, £160 a month was the cost of the loan to buy the bike, because I didn't really want to put all my money on it. And then actually, it's in terms of insurance, that's the next cost. So I'm 26, I'm married, and I am self-employed. And now, being self-employed affects your insurance a little bit. And I'm not a homeowner. If you own a home, which I don't, some people, which a lot of people nowadays at my age don't, unfortunately. But if, let's say, you're not a homeowner, the RC8 costs me to insure every year 250 quid, which is just insanely low. It's just incredibly low. I was shocked when I first bought it. I was like, mate, this is going to cost me like at least 800 quid to insure. But yeah, 500 quid. There was some other companies that were offering me 500 quid, but always do your research, always look around, because you can find such good deals. So I got that for 250, which is brilliant. It's a bit more expensive than the ZX6R. The ZX6R I had insured for 160, which is insane. But obviously it was a cheaper bike, way less horsepower. A lot of people have killed them. Well, probably a lot less people have really hurt themselves or other people on a ZX6 than they have on an RCA. I don't know. I think you can kill yourself on a scooter, but yeah, that's just got really morbid. But yeah, so the insurance for an RC8 for me was actually really good. Now, the kicker is that in Spain, it's going to be a little bit more expensive than it was in the UK. Now, I'm still not really sure how to like navigate the insurance kind of like malarkey here in Spain, because everything is like so bureaucratic. They have like literally, to do anything you have to go to like a government office. It's just insane. And there's going to be like little Miss Daisy in there with her like literally like with a typewriter and a stamp, and it's yeah, it's a pain in the dick. But for the RC8, I think the best quote I've looked at the RC8 is about €500 fully comp, which is not too bad. I would have liked to be a bit less, but obviously I'm on a foreign license here as well. I'm on a UK license here, so they kind of like, yeah, a bit more expensive for you, and bring it up and things like that. Um, but I would like to be a little bit cheaper, but there you go. But in terms of like actual running costs, like cost owning a RC8 is actually really cheap in terms of running costs. The only problem is it's really thirsty on petrol, but so are the R1s of the world, and obviously any bike depends on how you ride it is going to be more or less more expensive or less expensive, more thirsty, less thirsty. But on the RC8, you can probably get like 120 miles out of a tank, which is good. It's like got kind of averagely sized tank. I think full is like 20 quid or something like that. So you get about 120 miles of hard riding. If you ride like an absolute prick, then you'll probably get less than 100. Like, or on a track day, you'll get less than 100 miles. But that's pretty standard. Like, you don't buy these bikes for fuel economy. You buy them for like, taking you to warp speed and all that pretty quick, right? But in terms of servicing costs as well, it really depends on where you go to have your bike serviced. So on the RCA, the big major service is every 12,000 miles, which isn't actually too bad. Usually, you would see on some other kind of European bikes, you're looking at every 8,000 miles. Like on some of the old on the Ducati 1198s and 1098s and the 848s, they have to have a valve check every 8,000 miles, which for me is just like freaking low, because a valve check is like one of the bigger services you can have. And so, hey, what's up, man? What's up, Adam? How you doing, man? Evil, what's up, man? How you doing? Andy, what's up as well? It's a live stream. Mr. Duke, hi, dude. How you doing? Diamond Heat, my first bike is a Ninja 300. Awesome, man. Congratulations. What a great bike. I'm sure you have a lot of fun. You'll learn a lot on that bike. Spartan 321, hello, man. How you doing? Welcome to stream. So if you guys are just joining us, we're just talking about cost of ownership of the RC8. It's actually TLDR, it's fairly affordable. On the RC8, the major valve services, Leo, mate, he's right here next to my flubber. Look at him. Hey, monkey. Look at that. Look. It just literally, I can't get over how freaking adorable he is. I think he's just seen something outside and he literally looks like bug-eyed. So funny. My first bike was a 100cc scooter. Now I've just got a Suzuki Bandit 600. Awesome, man. Suzuki Bandits are like bulletproof, dude. You're not going to go wrong with that. Hyosung GT 650R is a sexy bike, not the fastest, but it looks so nice. Yeah, the Hyosungs, actually, the Hyosungs, I think they get a bad rap, man, but they're actually fairly good bikes. They look decent as well. Like, I think they do like a, don't they do like a 250? They do like a 125 and a 250, like really decent bikes. Yeah, man, Leo's here. He's a good boy. We're just waiting on Gabby to get back from the airport because her cousin's coming to visit. Aren't we, boy? Aren't we, boy? You were a bit naughty today. You were rolling in poo, weren't you? You freaking stinky. Terrible, terrible. Jack Russell ownership. Cost of Jack Russell ownership. Can I ask you a question that's a bit off topic of the stream? Of course you can, Spartan. Fire away. Where did I get to? So on the RC8 you have to have the major service every 12,000 miles, which is actually like really high for what it is. On as I said, on other big V twins you can have, you know, service intervals of like 8,000, which is just going to be so expensive. And if you're like me and I ride a hell of a lot, you know, every mile you put on is like getting closer to that big valve service check, which is not a fan. So but anyway, the valve check service on the RC8, little bit complicated because of the way that the engine is with the V twin. So the horizontal cylinder is the front cylinder, sorry, is fairly close to the front. So a lot of the bike actually has to come apart for it to be able to actually get to the valves. On the rear cylinder, it's really easy. You just pop the tank off and it's there in the airbox. So the cost of the actual valve check, if there's not going to be any actual clearances done on it, is going to cost you about 300, I would say 300-400 pounds, which is, it's quite a lot of money. And if you have to have actual valve clearances done, that's another faff in itself. So that's going to add another couple £100. So worst case scenario, a valve check is going to cost you about 600 quid, which is expensive, but that's not abnormal for like other bikes. I mean, even the ZX6R, I had the valves done on that, and that I was quite lucky actually because I was working at a dealership at the time, and they did it for me for a pretty good price because I was working there. But it would have cost me fairly similar, the same amount of money if I was just an average Joe coming to the dealership. So it's not abnormal. I call my bike Bertha. What do you all think of the name? She's an old. She's old. She's 19. That's amazing. Hey, 1995's not that old, mate. I'm from 1992. I had the 250. The 125 and 250 are the same as the 650, which is handy when you're 6'3". Oh, amazing. Just watch your video on the MT-07 as a first bike. Just wondering if you still stand by it being a good bike. I want to get one with my A2 and go straight to that. I have experience with it. Mate, honestly, like the MT-07 is probably, in my opinion, the MT-07 is probably the best A2 bike you can get. 100%. It's also a great bike, you know, in general, even if you have a full license. So what happens is on an A2 bike, wait, I want to get my A2 and go straight to that. Absolutely. So on an A2 bike, you can have the 300s, the 250s, or the 400s, or even if you are with Honda, the CBR 500R is an A2 bike. But what I've always recommended is people go for a bigger capacity bike and restrict it, because you actually do not lose out on a lot of the fun engine characteristics of a bigger bike by restricting it. You're only really restricting the horsepower. So by that, I mean top end speed. Whereas if you are on an A2 restricted bike that's on a bigger capacity like an MT-07 or an SV650, you get a lot of the down end torque and a lot of the kind of like fun factor you have with the bigger V-twin, but on that bike. And what it means is that as soon as you finish you get your full license, you can then just de-restrict it and then go ride on a unrestricted bike. So for me, the MT-07 is great because it's got so much. It's just so much fun. It's really brappy. You can wheelie it really easily. It's got lots of punch. Really cheap to run. Insurance costs of basically nothing on it. They look pretty cool. They sound absolutely insane with an Akrapovic exhaust on it. So yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with an MT-07 or an AT license, mate. Thumbs up to that for sure. Ryan, don't put people off. Yeah, they do the 125. I guess you guys are talking about the highest thing. Yeah, they do the 125 and 250. Some cruisers. They also V twin like the KTM. But man, they don't get enough recognition, to be honest. I wish they made a 1 liter. I mean, for sure, I've seen a couple highest things. I think they get kind of put in the same kind of light as the Chinese bikes, which is a bit of a shame because they're not. I think they're Korean, right? Can someone correct me? I think Hyosung's Korean. Frankie Doodle, as long as it's not, as it's got full service history, 20K actually isn't bad at all. 3K decent price though. Ooh, what are we talking about? Uh, how does the? Oh, you guys are talking about the Hyosung. I'd rather go fast on a smaller bike than slow on a fast bike. Yeah, I completely agree. I think you can have I think everyone should. The thing is with an MT-07, for instance, or an R6, you can get like so much out of the bike than you would on an R1 or even a KTM RC8, just because you really feel like you have to fucking rag the balls off those bikes to get all the speed out of it and for it to perform as good as it possibly. You can ride within its limits, so to speak. So I absolutely agree with you guys. '05 ZX636 near me with full history and 20K. What do you think, Duke? Ooh, Frankie Doodle. I would offer him not 3,000 for 20K miles. I sold my ZX6R. I sold it for 2,650, which was exactly the same price that I bought it for. Um, and I think it had 26,000 miles on it. So I mean, it's a fairly good price. I mean, it depends. I mean, does it have full like OEM bodywork, that kind of thing? I would what he has it at 3395 at this is a dealer. He reckons 3K. Mate, if it's a dealer, yeah, go for it. Just make sure you ride it first. And with the if it's from a dealer, absolutely, I would say 3,000 is a very good deal because if it was from a private seller, I would say knock him down a bit. But yeah, 3,000 from a dealer because then you get warranty and things like that. So what I would do though is I would just make sure that it has had the valve services done at 15,000, I think, with the ZX6. 15,000, and then also make sure that the timing, the CCT, which is the cam chain tensioner, has also been done as well because the Kawasaki's do tend to get a little bit of a click, 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 click from the lower left-hand side of the engine, I believe. And when you're running it, when it's over turnover, if it's anything that's like you noticeably loud on the on if it takes like very like noticeably loud, and if you give it a little bit of revs, if it kind of accelerates, if the ticking accelerates with the RPMs and you can still hear it, I would knock the guy down a little bit more in price and say it needs the cam chain tensioner done, and you can get a manual one installed really easily, or you could even manually adjust it yourself. So I think 3,000 is a good deal if it has absolutely no problems whatsoever. Other than that, mate, you're gonna absolutely, if you buy it, absolutely love it. You're gonna absolutely love that bike. The ZX 05 is probably the 05s and 06s were the last of the proper 636s because after the 06 year they went to 599cc, so it was the last of the 636 engine. And then I think they brought it back in like 2011, I think. I'm not sure. 2011 they brought back the 636 engine. I don't know. But the cool thing about the 05s, they have slipper clutch as standard, which is just brilliant. The RC8 doesn't have a slipper clutch. They have a great load of power in the mid-range, which is perfect for riding on the roads. They sound phenomenal with an aftermarket exhaust, and they just turn superbly. And you know, you can be doing 150 mile an hour and you won't know it on those bikes. They're just so well made. 100%. I'm thinking about getting one as a track bike, a nice blue one as a track bike, just like my old one, because I genuinely miss that bike. Kawasaki Z800E restricted is good too. Absolutely agree. Although for the Z800E, I think you'll be paying a little bit more than what you would be paying for an MT-07. And frankly speaking, I would prefer, if I was restricting an A2 bike, I'd prefer to have a parallel twin like the MT-07 engine, or a V-twin like the SV650, because you get a lot more torque. And everyone knows I love torque. Colin, love riding my 125cc Mito. 33 bhp is so much fun and scares so. Oh man, that's awesome. I got you restricted, but my RC8 is a different kettle of fish. But equally, as I'll never go to a slip. Yeah, I mean, I'll never go to the RC8 slip, but I love riding small displacement bikes as well. No worries, mate. You'd be fine with 600cc. I started on a CBR 600. I was zero experience, no problems. Enjoy. Yeah, absolutely. Like, right, you guys can start on any bike. I'm gonna turn the lights on actually because it's getting a little bit dark. Just check out the good old sunset here. Look at that. It's like literally Mordor over there. You can see the Eye of Sauron on the hill. And Leo has done an extremely heinous fart right now. Leo, you're one gassy fucker, aren't you, today? What have you eaten, bud? Jesus. Right, I'm going to turn the lights on quickly. My phone camera's at a really awkward angle. You're getting my chin. Sorry about that, guys. Cheers. See you later, Adam. Have a good one. Great advice about bikes and CCT. Thank you. And okay, my first bike. My first bike. Mate, honestly, like the ZX6 is any 600 is such a good bike as a first bike after direct access, because to get the speed and to get all the power out of it, you have to be holding on to the throttle for quite a while in comparison to an RC8, which is you turn the throttle and it just goes. So they're actually super easy to ride and really forgiving, and they're really confidence inspiring, because you really notice the power when it comes on, and it comes on, you know, sort of in the 8,000-9,000 RPM range, and you can feel it and you can work with the bike. It's a different experience. But honestly, ZX6, the 05 636 would be super as your first bike after DAS. So congratulations, man. Yep, it's green and all OEM body. Amazing. So that means it's got appreciated more. Fantastic, man. I would say go ahead. Just check out the CCT for sure. As long as you ride within your means and you're sensible, you can start anything. Also, completely agree, bud. I would say so long as you've had like road experience, you know, I wouldn't put a 16-year-old on an HP4, for instance. You know what I mean? Don't talk about the CC. I know, mate. How's your bike doing? Did you get it sorted out? Parallel twin like Ninja 300, always knew you love my bike. Mate, I love your bike. When are you going to get your full license then, Happy Smurf, mate? Come on. You got to do it. For the A2, the street triple is the bomb. Oh, yeah, but are you talking about the new street triple, so the one with the 660cc engine, or are you talking about the older gen that you could restrict? Because I have a buddy who was on the A2 street triple 660, so the new style of bike, and it was great. A little bit more money than I'd pay for an A2 bike, but yeah. I know what you mean. I paid £2,000 on shorts. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit more money on those kinds of bikes for the Z800s, because they're a little bit more expensive. Just landed back home from Lanzarote. Oh, dude, hope you had a good trip. Yeah, whatever you do, do not put diesel in the tank. You guys may not know this, but on the big ride out we had, the last ride out that I had in the UK, we were on the way back. Me and Mr. Super Duke. He's on a Super Duke, and I was on the RC8, and we were all of us actually. What am I talking about? All of us were at this restaurant, and some of the young lads who came with us, they'd gone off to get fuel and stuff, and they top lads, they'd ridden like 3 hours to come and be with us, like from Kent. Amazing. I love it. All of them on 125s. It's bloody brilliant. And they left a bit early, obviously, because it was getting a bit late in the day, and they had a 3-hour ride home back to Kent. And so we were all at this like burger place getting some food, and then one of them pops back, and he's like, "Oh guys, can we have a bit of hand? We need to turn a bike upside down to get petrol out." And we were just like, "Wait, what?" Because apparently the young owner, who will not be named for his own safety, I would imagine, nice chap, good subscriber of mine, he had put diesel in his bike. So in his like fairly new GSX, in his sorry about that, guys. Hello, am I back? Sorry, Gabby's just calling me. I told her to go away. So he had put diesel on his bike, and so we had to turn it around. They wanted to turn it upside down to get fuel out of it. We're just like, no, we're not doing that. So we helped him to disassemble it. Literally, there was about a group of 10 of us disassembling this GSXR 125 and getting a tank off and everything like that. Absolutely bloody brilliant. Loved it. It was such good fun. But yeah, pro tip: don't put diesel on your bike. The old one, the 675, not the R. Oh, cool. That's awesome that you can restrict it, dude. That's awesome. The old Street Triple for A2. House and car priority bikes should actually long as and keep up with the others on 600C. Yeah, of course you can, man. You're on a Ninja. You can keep up with anyone. Will you ever be back in the UK? I wouldn't mind mean to you. Mate, I'm going to be... I fly back to the UK every so often for business. Part of the reason why I haven't really been uploading as frequently as I was because literally... I've just been traveling so much for work. It's been brilliant, but yeah, I mean, when I come back to the UK, I mean, I might have to do a meetup and like have a rental or something like that. Frankie says 12 driving 12 years of plenty of road experience. Haven't seen an RC8 here in the flesh, but Jesus, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Watched all your 636 vids. Some assess will go back. Oh, amazing, dude! Congratulations. I hope you do buy your new bike, and you're gonna love it to death, man. The 636 is such a great bike. Then you're getting the KTM 690's first bike. Are you talking about the 690 Duke? I guess it would have to be the 690 Duke. It wouldn't be the 690 Enduro or anything like that. 690 Duke, great first bike. You know, very manageable, lots of fun, great punch, nice big single cylinder, got lots of character, that kind of stuff. And they look and sound amazing as well. So absolutely, man, great bike for a first bike. Spiky, how you doing, man? Welcome to the stream. Hope I'm not too late. Just finished editing. You need to come over here, mate. All over to Wales. God damn it, it's quite a long way. Quite a long way. When are you going to get... Have you got your full license yet, Spikey? I'm not sure, buddy. Ride together, nice to get. Hi, I'm new to your videos. Oh, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for joining in on the vids. Nice to have a new face. But yeah, and so I guess I just wanted... The kind of last thing I wanted to talk about in this video was like if you can... How I kind of like make money on my bikes. So every single bike that I've owned, I have always made money on it. And I kind of have been building up that, I would call it like bike collateral in some ways. So like on my 125, I bought it for 1,600 quid and I sold it for 2,000 after putting like 5,000 miles on it. And then I then used that 2,000 pounds to buy the Ducati Monster, which I also bought for 1,600 quid. And then I sold that one for 2,200 quid, which was bloody good considering that it had the MOT the next day, literally, and it was probably not going to pass it between you and I. And it had, you know, needed new tires and that kind of stuff. And I sold it to a guy. I was like, it needs a little bit of work, like it needs some tires, bro. That kind of thing. He was like, just wanted to buy it. And then after I bought the Ducati Monster, I then had enough money from that sale to then buy the ZX6R, which I bought for 2,650. And then I put 10,000 miles on the ZX6, and then I sold that for 2,650. So that was the only bike I didn't make money on, was my Ninja, unfortunately. And then now I have the RC8. And the idea being is that I think a lot of people, they don't treat their bikes well and they don't buy smart when they're going to be buying a bike. So I always get those bikes that you kind of can see that they're not devaluing anymore. You can actually look into... there's a website called Blue Book, my Blue Book, Vehicle Blue Book, and you can actually see on it like the trends of vehicle appreciations and devaluations and what it's worth and things like that. So on all of those bikes that I bought, I kind of knew that they weren't going to devalue any more than they already had. And even in some cases, like the ZX6, it was actually appreciating in value. So that's one of the reasons why I bought it. So what I'm saying is like, always look around for the best deal that you can get. And always see if you, because I don't want to lose money on my vehicles, if that makes any, it sounds kind of pretentious, but if I can avoid it, I want to use them, abuse them, and then sell them and not lose money on it. I know too many people that have, you know, bought a new vehicle that they've then fallen out of love with, and they've then lost 30% of what they paid for it. So for me, that's not really what I want to do. So that's quite like one of the reasons why I always buy secondhand. And always make sure, obviously, that the bike's in, if it's not in good condition, you can always do your own work on it and you can get it up to that price. So for instance, the Ducati Monster needed the timing belts changed when I bought it, and I looked on YouTube and learned how to do the timing belts change. So I did them myself, which appreciates the value because that's an expensive service. And those kinds of things, obviously keeping good condition of your bike, using ACF 50 in winter, just making sure that it's in really like, it looks good and it sounds good and it runs good. And you'll be able to sell them on for, you know, so long as you pick the right vehicle, of course, you should be able to sell them on for more money than you bought it for, even if you put more miles on it. That Andy, I'm really happy you're going to be a dad, man. I have a 7-month-old son now, and I can't tell you. Oh man, I'm so excited. Gabby's got 2 months left, guys. I'm not gonna lie. It's literally gone so fast. She's only got, it's insane. She could give birth now, and the baby would be cool, you know. I recently got me a license. That would be awesome. Awesome, man. Congratulations on you getting a license. That's awesome. When in the UK did you keep your bike outside? If so, cover, etc. best. I actually didn't buy, I kept my bike outside sometimes. When we moved house, I didn't have a garage, so I actually left it at my mum's house, which had a garage. But on the times that I did leave it outside, I actually bought a very thick, not a motorcycle cover. I got it from a camping store, and they're very thick, completely waterproof, because a lot of the bike covers are not completely waterproof, and if they are, they're like really expensive. So go to a camping store and get like a tarpaulin or a plastic tarpaulin. They work the best, in my opinion. And if you're riding over winter, just use ACF 50. That's pro tips for that. That'd be awesome. Always wants to ride down through France and Spain. Mate, you got to do it. I would avoid riding through France because it's just really, really expensive. France is just heinously expensive in terms of toll roads and petrol. So if you can, take the ferry from Portsmouth, if you can get to Portsmouth, or maybe they sail from Wales. That's where you are, isn't it? So, or near Wales, I think. I'm not sure where you, sorry mate if I'm completely butchering where you're from. But if you can get from the UK to Spain, you can just get the ferry, then you're instantly in Spain. You save yourself a lot of money on petrol and toll roads. Ah, Gabby's just come home. Hi, honey. I'm sorry that you were calling me, but I was unable to answer. Hi, people. Hi, Aurora. I'm just going to go upstairs.
That was like my oven, man. I told you about my oven.
Oh, I need to check the oven.
You didn't do?
No, I did. Fuck, I probably burnt all the food that Gabby's been cooking.
So you did the food?
Oh, it's fine.
Are you sure?
A little bit burnt.
No. I kill you. I just don't know.
Okay, I'm going to leave. Oh, Spiky, man, thanks so much for the £5. I really appreciate it, dude. That's awesome. What are your recommendations for, literally, thank you so much, guys. Go check out Spiky's channel. He's a good lad, he's a good YouTuber. I'm just gonna go into my office. Oh, get away from the whammons. But go check him out, he's a top lad. Makes good videos. I know it's not much, but it helps in some way for a little one. Oh man, honestly, that's super nice, thank you. Oh no, it helps a lot. I had to do my Spanish taxes today, which was just heinously expensive. I've had my license 2 months and I have been on the motorway around 10 times. I'd love to do it on motorway. Mate, I do love my road trips. I need to plan something. I think what we could do is we should definitely do a Duke Blade Spain experience. That sounds like an idea. If you're up for a Duke Blade Spain experience, just let me know. I would definitely be up for that. Actually, we could do a whole tour and go through the mountains, and I don't know how many of you would be coming, but we have enough space. If not, we'll find Airbnbs or something like that. But yeah, that would be sweet, huh? I'd be so down for that. I'd love to show you guys Spain. Who's in the chat now? The boss has arrived, mate. Exactly. I had to borrow. She left me one thing. She's making something in the oven. She was like, "You need to look at this and make sure you're not going to burn it." And I was like, "Ah, of course not. What are you talking about, woman? I never burn anything." And I completely forgot about it. You guys are hella distracting. Oh, Matsu, hello, man. How you doing? I'll be over to see your channel in a bit, Mr. Spiky. Yeah, good. Go check him out. He's a good lad. Makes nice videos. I wish I was on the other side of the pond to join you. Wait, guys, we need to organize a Duke Blade Spain experience. And we could go to racetracks as well. We go to Almeria and have like a little a little track day, I'll get in touch with them to see if we can get that sorted out. That'll be that. Oh god, it's got me super excited now, man. I'm so down. 50 grown men turn up in Spain and expect to sleep on your floor now, Duke. Mate, it's the only way to do it, you know? Look, to be honest, we're all guys, right? Doesn't matter how old you are. We're all lads. We don't give a fuck. I think who was the comedian who said that oh god, who's the small guy who's the African American dude who's always in films with The Rock? What's his name? But he has a funny stand-up thing where he was talking about men and women, and that men, was it him? I'm probably completely forgetting who it was, but whoever it was said that women want, it's gonna sound really sexist, sorry women, but he said the only reason why men have nice things is because their goal in life is to have no, it's not Kevin Hart, it's not the dude who's in the films with The Rock. It's I'm just not gonna pretend like I know who it is. He's a really funny comedian. Anyway, he said that a man's goal in life is to have a woman, and the only reason why we have nice things is because it's bait for the women. So he goes, the sketch goes, so a man's driving along in a nice car, and a woman goes, "Oh, nice car," and then the man goes, "Gotcha." That's so funny. But what point is that men, we could sleep in a box. We don't need to have a house. We could sleep in a cardboard box and we'd be happy. So yeah, I mean, if 50 grown men turn up to my house and want to sleep on the floor, you guys, who's gonna give a fuck, right? Plus we've got a swimming pool and everything. It's gonna be decent. I think I need to organize this trip, but instead of staying at my house, we'll do Airbnb. We really want to do a tour of Scotland. Oh man, Scotland's awesome. Exactly, and the great thing, Rowet Fly, I'm sorry if I butchered that, is that in Spain the campsites are actually freaking awesome, and they all have the amenities and like nice showers, nice toilets. It's not like France, where it's French campsites are a little bit hit and miss, because you'll turn up at one and then it's got a long drop toilet, for instance, and I'm not about that life, so but the Spanish ones are actually really good, and there's always a sweet like pub just down the road for like €1 beers. So like just down the road from me, there's a little village, and they do €1 beers, and you get a beer for €1 and like a whole load of like crunchy peanuts and stuff. It's absolutely amazing, and it's like a little biker thing, and there's a campsite right nearby. So yeah, we can organize something like that. I actually have to look into it. Probably won't happen this year because of the baby and things like that, but maybe next year or in the new year around March. I think that'd be cool. I passed my A2 literally yesterday, so I want to do a big trip at some point soon. Mate, awesome. Congratulations on passing your A2. That sounds like what I did. I literally passed my A2 on my Ducati Monster, and then I literally took my Ducati and went around Europe. So I had passed my test the month prior, and we did 5,000 miles in 3 weeks on my 2001 Ducati Monster 600. And it was literally the best experience I've ever done, and I cannot rate it highly enough. We drove from the UK, we took the ferry across to Calais, drove all the way down through France. It was absolutely pissing it down with rain the whole time in France. It was heinous, it was horrible. And then we went to north of Spain, in San Sebastian, and so San Sebastian, then Bilbao and Santander, or was it Santander then Bilbao on the north of the coast of Spain? Just stunning scenery. Santander is like one of my favorite places in Spain, because where you stay is like on the campsite is up on top of a hill that's completely green. And then you drive 5 minutes down the hill and you're on the beach, and it's like 30 degrees and it's super for surfing there. So my mate drove his car and I went on the bike, because there was a few of them in the car, and I was like supposed to go with some other bikers as well, but they all bailed last minute, so I was the only one on a bike. But it was great because I had all my gear in the car, or as I called it, the bitch support vehicle. But yeah, I mean, it was fantastic. Then we drove all the way down from north of Spain, all the way down the coast of Portugal. We stayed a week in Lisbon, which is full of drug dealers, by the way. I love Portugal, but I don't really like Lisbon, if I'm honest. And then in the south of Portugal, in a town called Lagos, we stayed there for a week. And then we did from the south of Portugal all the way to where Gabby was living here in Alicante at the time. We did that in 1 day. So that was 600 miles we did in 1 day. We took about 9 hours straight riding on the bike, but it was fantastic. And then we spent a week in Alicante with Gabby and her family. And then we drove from Alicante up to northern Spain, then took the ferry back to the UK. But it was such an awesome experience. Highly recommended it. I learned so much about riding from that. We definitely need to set something up like that. What are your thoughts about the Hayabusa? I haven't ridden a Hayabusa, but it's not my personal favorite of motorcycles. It's pretty ugly. Frankie Doodle Man, have a good one. Let me know how this purchase of the ZX6R goes. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for this live stream. I have to end it there. Otherwise, Gabby's going to get mad at me, and we don't want that for my own safety. So thank you so much for joining this live stream. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you guys. We should definitely set up the Duke experience, we'll call it, and just tour Spain. Honestly, I'm definitely going to look into that. Something I really want to do with you guys. I think it'd be awesome. And I'll get like a whole costs thing, and we can go for a week, or probably be more than that, for like 2 weeks. And then get a whole cost list together for you guys if you're interested in doing it. And oh, here we go. Hey man, just grew up in Spain. Now I've got to live in the UK. Just got my first ever bike, a 2001 Honda CBR 600F. Hopefully, oh man, appreciate it. Congratulations on your new bike. And maybe you can teach me some Spanish because my Spanish is trash. Anyway, guys, I have to go now. I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much for coming, and stay tuned for the Duke Experience. Peace.